Today's question comes from the 2001 AB exam. I've classified it as a type 6 problem. It is slope fields and differential equations. However, in this problem, we're actually not drawing any slope fields. We will be solving the differential equation given an initial condition. Part A looks like we're going to be finding the second derivative and evaluating at a point. So, starting off, they give us the first derivative, dy dx, is equal to y squared times 6 minus 2x. And if we want to find the second derivative, we will be taking the derivative of the left side and the right side. So the derivative of the left with respect to x. And then on the right, we have a product, so we will need to be running the product rule. So the derivative of the first function, implicit differentiation, times the second, plus the first times the derivative of the second. Now this is our second derivative, and it is best if we express it all in terms of x's and y's. So I'm going to replace dy dx with the value of dy dx. So rewriting our second derivative, we get 2y times y squared times 6 minus 2x times 6 minus 2x minus 2y squared. Looks like we have two of those terms, so one last simplification, 2y cubed times 6 minus 2x squared, subtract 2y squared. That is our second derivative. And our goal was to find the second derivative and then evaluate it at the point 3, 1/4. So the last step, evaluate this at 3, 1/4. So we'll get 2 times 1/4 cubed times 6 minus 2 times 3 squared, subtract 2 times 1/4 cubed. If you'll notice right here, 6 minus 6 is 0, so this whole first piece is all equal to 0, and we're left with just the 2 times 1/4. I don't know why I wrote to the third power there. 1/4 squared. So 2 times 1/4 squared, and the negative comes along, so we get negative 1/8. Okay. This part of the problem is worth 3 points. You get 2 points for correctly finding the second derivative. Okay. So they're going to probably subtract a point for each error that you make, whether you forgot to do the chain rule part or if you made a mistake in doing the product rule part. And then your third point comes for correctly finding the value. And please note that it's okay to stop at a completely numeric answer. You don't have to simplify it down. Just make sure that you don't make the same mistake that I did. This is a little copy error. Be careful when you're writing down your numbers. All right, let's look at part B. Solve the differential equation. So this is more in line with one of the more common things that we do in the problem, where we're given a separable differential equation and we want to separate the variables and solve it. So the first step is we're going to divide y squared to the left-hand side and multiply 2x to the right-hand side. Our variables are now separated. We have all y terms on the left and all x terms on the right. From there, we need to find the antiderivatives, and the antiderivative of 1 over y squared is negative 1 over y. The antiderivative of 6 minus 2x would be 6x minus x squared, and then both sides have a constant. We'll merge those constants together on the right. Okay. Our goal in the end is to find what y equals, so we're going to need to find the value of c and then solve for y. So in finding the value of c, I'm going to start by plugging in the initial condition. The initial condition was f of 3 equals 1/4. So x is 3 when y is 1/4. And we get negative 1 over 1/4 equals 6 times 3 minus 3 squared plus c. Negative 4 equals 18 minus 9 plus c. In this case, c equals negative 13. 18 minus 9 is 9. Negative 4, subtract the 9. There we go. So our equation, negative 1 over y, is 6x minus x squared minus 13. If I want to solve this for y, I can multiply the y across, and then I can subtract, divide this to the left-hand side. And so I get negative 1 over 6x minus x squared minus 13 equals y. All right, in the point breakdown for this, we're going to get 1 point if we correctly separate the variables, 1 point for the derivative of the left, 1 point for the derivative of the right, and 1 point for the constant of integration. After we get these 3 points, then if you include the initial condition to solve for c, you get 1 point for considering that initial condition. And then finally, the last point comes from solving for the function y equals. If you're looking at the key online, they distributed this negative out of the top and bottom. So you might see something that looks slightly different, but it is the same thing. All right, be sure to smash that like button, comment, and subscribe. Have a good day.